everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Tech Unlocked podcast, the podcast where we unlock the latest tech news, leaks, and rumors, and at the same time having a bit of fun and having some cool guests as well. I'm one of your hosts, Benji from BenObi Tech, and I'm joined as always by Taylor from TA Tech, and today we also have another special guest. Joining us for our last episode of the year, we have Roger from Life of Tech. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, doing good.
Doing
Thank
awesome,
you very
man.
much. Yeah, really good.
It's been a busy week for all of us. We had Christmas, and hopefully those who are watching or listening, you guys enjoyed your Christmas, and had a good time, and you're ready for the new year, because new year, new us. You know how it is.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Time to set some goals and stuff like that. So today we have quite a few cool things to talk about. We have a couple of news stories that we're going to discuss first. Then we're gonna have some time with our guest Roger, and of course he's gonna comment on like the news and stuff as well with us. But yeah, so a little bit different. We've switched it from what we would normally do with guests. But without any further ado, let's get into it. Taylor, do you want to take us away with the first news story we have for the week?
Yeah, so iPhone SE3 enters trial production and might cost $278. Here's the thing, and I don't know if you guys agree. I kind of think that price point is weird considering it's basically the same device, except it's going to have 5G. Now, don't you guys think it would cost a little bit more considering it's going to have 5G, or is that just me? Because I saw the story and I even commented with Benji and a few others, and I'm just like, I don't know.
Well, what are your thoughts, Roger?
It's a good question. I really don't know. I think Apple will still try and do whatever they can to get people to buy their products. So I think if there's a chance for them to keep the cost, at a sensible level, I think they'll probably try, but I don't know. So pricing, yeah, I'm just looking at that now. I'm really not sure. It will be quite interesting to see what they do, but I do still think that, although Apple like money, of course, and they like to set their prices rather high, I have a feeling...
For sure.
Well, yeah, but no, I have a feeling as it is the SE model that, who knows, we could be surprised. I think they'll try and keep pricing for that particular model competitive,
Yeah, because I think as of right now, the current SE is like $400 starting price. So if they did, they're basically almost halving the price, which I think is really good. It's very appealing. And I think it was Ming-Chi Kuo or some Apple analyst said that this new iPhone SE is going to make 1 billion Android users switch to iPhone. I don't know if that's a bit of an exaggeration, but if it really does end up being this price point, even though it's like an old design, it has that old, it has the old bezels and Touch ID. I think if it comes in at $270, I think a lot of people would love this phone, especially since it has 5G as well, which a lot of people are hyped around for basically no reason because 5G doesn't even work most of the time. But I'm excited for this. I hope it happens. I don't know if the price is going to be that low though.
Yeah, that's the only thing with me that I don't think it's going to be that low. Maybe it's going to be low, but I think that's a little too much.
Yeah. Any last thoughts about this, guys?
Not really.
No.
But if it's below, let's put it this way: if it's 300 or below, then it's not a handset that I would normally bother with. But if it's 300 or below, I'll buy one. So you can hold me to that because I'd like to play around with one.
Yeah, because it's gonna feature some old tech, of course. Like it's not gonna be the latest and greatest. It's the iPhone SE. But like for average consumers like grandmothers or grandfathers or even like older parents who don't care about having the latest and greatest tech, and they don't care about Face ID and bezel-less and everything, this is a great option for them.
I think there are some situations where Face ID has been a little bit harder to work with, and actually Touch ID is actually more suited to certain situations. So I don't think there's no. I think that's quite cool. I think that's quite. I don't know. It does depend on the price, but I think it could be quite interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think as of right now, the price that it's at is quite high for what it is. So if they did, even if they lowered it by like $50, I think it would still be a lot more appealing to people. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. It's gonna be interesting.
Very true.
I think it's I don't know if you guys know, but I think it's coming out like early next year, early 2022. So it could be seeing this iPhone, and because it's just entered trial production, so that means they're testing to see if they can do everything the price that it's supposedly going to be. But anyway, moving on to our next piece of news for the week. Apple apparently is preparing to get rid of the SIM card tray.
Oh, this could be dodgy.
Yeah, no, there was a rumor that came out. I think it was last week. I think last week they said that it was going to have like the iPhone, the 2023 iPhone wasn't going to have a SIM card tray. And then recently they said that the 2022 iPhone isn't going to have a SIM card tray. So that's 2020. Did I say 2020? I meant 2022. So iPhone 14. iPhone 14 will not have a SIM card tray. I don't know what you guys think about that, because it's kind of crazy. But
you know what?
I kind of see where they're going with this.
No, yeah, definitely. I definitely think that this is a good idea. It's going to be interesting to see how different carriers can handle it. I think that there's a lot of carriers already who do this here in the U.S. So, to see this transition, I think it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah,
I mean, even for me, like trying to switch my SIM card to a new phone, there was one time I actually thought I had dropped the SIM card into the phone. So yeah, without the SIM card tray, by the way. So yeah, this would be very welcome for me.
Yeah, because I mean, I think eSIM is already. It's not that big of a thing. Like, it's been out we've had eSIM for a very long time, but a lot of carriers still don't support it. And I think this is kind of like one of those times where Apple pushes the market, like with the headphone jack. They got rid of the headphone jack, and then that pushed the market to make phones without a headphone jack and to transition. And so I think if they did remove, like, even with like the plug that usually comes in phones, Apple was the first one to remove it, and now everybody's following them. So I think if they did remove the SIM card tray, that would push not only carriers but other companies to put more emphasis on eSIM. And I mean, if they switch to eSIM, it's not only does it make the phone more water resistant, it makes it one step closer to portless, but also we're in a way it's kind of saving the environment, because if you think about it, SIM cards are made out of plastic. And plastic isn't very biodegradable. So if they did switch to eSIM, they'd be like kind of embracing their, we care about the environment type thing a little bit more. I think that's going to be their stance on it. They're like, we care about the environment. We're going to get rid of this. And there's also one less part they need to put in the phone. Roger, what do you think about them?
Okay, I'll tell you my thoughts. First of all, this is complete. I'm not going to change the subject, but let me just touch on the power adapter in the box thing, because that obviously, we get it. Most people already have a power adapter. How about though, right? With the Apple Watch Series 7, that now has a different connector on the end of the cable, USB-C, I believe. I don't have one, but I believe it's USB-C.
It's USB-C.
But they still don't give you a power adapter. What about if you're one of these people that has lots of lightning connectors on your adapters, but you don't have a USB-C? Where's the plug, Apple? Come on, that is a little bit crafty. I think for the people that are buying the latest stuff where they've switched to USB-C, I do think they should still include a power adapter with that, and for a few years till everyone's got them, and then remove them from the box. That's what I wanted to say about the power adapter. The rest of the stuff, though, the rest of the stuff that uses the lightning connectors that we've all had for years and years, that's fine. Remove them from them. Anyway, just wanted to rant a little bit about the power adapter. But with the eSIM, I have a little story, So grab some popcorn, and no, I'm joking. It's not going to be that. But I do have something to tell you about that. I do have something. So in the UK, I'm on the EE network, And I had earlier this year, I had two iPhones, an iPhone 12 and an iPhone 13, standard models. And in the iPhone 12, I was using eSIM only. So my SIM card was an eSIM. I'd cut the actual SIM card up, thrown it in the bin. It was an eSIM. I wanted to switch to the iPhone 13, but this was the first time I'd ever tried to switch to a new handset with an eSIM, not a physical SIM. And something went horribly wrong because I followed what I thought were the instructions with EE. And long story short, my eSIM was lost, gone, and I couldn't add it to the new phone. The only way now this is the thing. This is where I think the technology needs to be improved slightly, because the only way to get the eSIM on the new phone, on the iPhone 13, was to phone EE, ask them for a new SIM card. It took about 7 days to send me a SIM card. Come on. I mean, that's not Apple's fault, of course. That's the network.
Yeah.
7 days later, I had the SIM card at last. And then finally, I could convert that into an eSIM in the new phone. But in the meantime, the problem was, because I was switching from the 12 to the 13 and I'd lost the eSIM in the process, I had no phone. I had no phone number. I couldn't use anything. It was a disaster. So I think the eSIM stuff is fantastic. I do think it's very good. And I think, as you said, Benji, that the only company probably really that can push the market forward and push everybody into eSIMs is going to be Apple. Yeah. So I think probably they're going to do this. I think the physical SIM card will disappear. I do think that's going to happen. But I also think they need to come up with some kind of better system when there is an issue where it can be fixed quickly, you know. But I do think it's a good idea. Don't get me wrong. I do think it's a great idea. Anyway, that was my story.
Great story. I mean, I haven't really tried an eSIM yet. Like I recently switched to ID Mobile. I don't know if you've ever heard of that one, Roger. But
I have.
Yeah. So I recently switched to that with my iPhone 13 mini, and they don't have eSIMs at all. So it's gonna be interesting if Apple does do this, to see how many companies are actually going to, because if they want to offer the newest iPhone, they need to have the programs in place for an eSIM. Right. And hopefully they sort out all of that, because I mean, if EE is having issues with eSIM, which is like one of the biggest carriers in the UK, then we're in trouble.
Yeah, I reckon if Apple do this though, then the networks will have no choice. They will have to say, right, well, we have to deal with this now. Maybe they just haven't been in a position where they haven't really had to deal with this yet. But of course, if that's the way that Apple goes, the networks will be faced with, okay, now we have to deal with this.
It's same thing with like the headphone jack. But companies are like, oh, we want to sell headphones to iPhone users, but they don't want to buy our headphones because they can't plug it into their phones unless they use an adapter. And so a lot of companies then started creating Bluetooth headphones, and they got better and better and better. And today, like, Bluetooth headphones are just the norm, and a lot of people love them. And you could also find a lot that are at really good prices. So I'm honestly excited to see how this is all going to work out with Apple switching completely to eSIM. It's definitely going to be an interesting one.
The next thing that we wanted to talk about, and I was talking to Benji about this. This is really weird. Japanese professor has developed a prototype Lickable TV screen that can imitate food flavors. What the heck? What the heck?
When I saw this last week, I was like, this needs to be a part of an episode, because this is just too. It's just too funny. I mean, it's a good idea, but there's also a lot of like, especially now in a time where we've got COVID and people are a lot more self-conscious about germs, and then they make a lickable display, and you're like,
go on, John, you have a go. Go on, Steve, you have a go.
Yeah, just have a lick of the screen. It'll taste like strawberries. Like,
perhaps if everybody has their own lickable screen, it wouldn't be so bad. But you definitely wouldn't want to be sharing it with, put it in the middle of a shopping mall and there's like thousands of people. Let me have a go.
Just imagine like Apple starts implementing this, and people go into the Apple store. You just see people licking iPhones. You're like, what are they doing?
The genius
just
of the
reading
Apple
that is like,
yeah. I mean, I can get certain things, like, let's say there's a phone that through the speaker you can smell what's on the other side. But then
Yeah.
you've got like licking, which is a completely different thing. Like you've got a lot of other things that you need to factor in, like germs and other
Right.
stuff. It's
Yeah.
like it's so strange. Like
So what's this called? I'm just looking actually at it here. Taste TTTV. Taste the TV. Okay.
Lickable TV.
What?
And also, who's gonna go? What normal person is gonna go up to their TV and lick their screen? Like,
I've just seen.
I'm watching.
There's Benji. I can see. There's a picture there actually of a lady actually licking the screen. I mean, it just looks weird. You wouldn't do that, would you?
This thing looks like a shoe as well. What on earth?
Yeah, that is.
So
God.
I'm glad you found that because it's funny. It's interesting. It's funny, but I mean, yeah, that's craziness.
Yeah, leave it to the Japanese to come up with something like this, though.
Wow.
It's so
Can you
strange.
imagine? He's
Seriously
like
though.
Monday morning. He got his coffee. He goes to work. He's got a sausage roll in his hand, and he's like, right, what we're going to do today? I know. Let's invent a lickable display. You just wouldn't think of that, would you? You wouldn't do that.
No, you wouldn't. You really wouldn't. Just when you and this is what I say all the time. Just when you think that you've seen it all, there's a lot more you haven't.
Oh, that is true. That is very true.
It's so strange. There's like a video of the guy, the professor that invented this, and his hair is just like looks like Albert Einstein.
Oh my god!
But it's gonna be interesting. Apparently, the price for like a commercial version of this would cost $875 to make.
Yeah,
That's not that
That's just
expensive, considering.
It's just to make though, so they'd probably sell it for like $1,500 or something.
Oh, sorry.
Which
that's
still-
the cost price. Yeah.
Which
Okay.
still isn't too bad considering it's like a TV, or it's supposed to be a TV.
I wonder what kind of. See, I'd be more interested in like the display itself, the resolution, and I mean,
Yeah, it's gonna be like
Yeah.
480p or something.
yeah, you can
5
just
inch.
Imagine. You can just imagine. But interesting though.
The world is
Definitely.
going nuts.
yeah, it is.
Certainly
It really is.
We need some new innovators. First we have Elon Musk that wants to build tunnels, and then we've got this. Anyway, moving on
Like
now. So that's what
Like
were
I
you gonna say,
said,
Taylor?
when you think you've seen it all, you really haven't.
This is so true. Anyway, so that's kind of the news portion of the episode. We've had some interesting stuff. There's been some other stuff that's happened, but it wasn't too big. Like Apple released some Japan only AirTags and Power Beats, or whatever they're called. Not too exciting. They're just like different colors. The AirTags that just have a dragon on it, or whatever.
Yeah,
but.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of it for the news. So now we're going to dedicate a little bit more time to Roger and ask him some questions, get to know a little bit more about him, who he is as a creator, and have him share some advice with us, and that can hopefully be helpful for you guys who are watching this or listening to this episode of the podcast. So, Roger, some of these questions I've asked you before because you were on my podcast like years ago.
It was. Yeah, I remember that. That was. It was a few years back, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, and we've both come quite a long way since then. Or
True.
you, in terms of YouTube, you've come quite a ways. So, how many subscribers do you have now? Is it like 10,000?
Ooh, I am
15,000?
13. I don't know, 13, it's not quite, but it's nearly 13,500, I think. Something like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Cool.
something like that.
Yeah, you've grown quite a bit, and your content's always just as good as it's always been. It's in fact probably
Oh, well.
better.
Thank you very much. That's very kind.
So when did you start YouTube, Roger, and why did you start? That's the first question. I'm gonna
Great
ask.
question. I mean, I had a few jobs years back where they, at the time, they sort of said, anybody here, can anyone that works here make a video for us? I was like, yeah, I'll give that. I'll give that a go. I'm into that kind of thing. So I made a few videos. I worked for an electronic cigarette company, and I made some videos about their products. And I've always been in, like, I've always had some kind of, years back, Benji, I was like 6 or something, and I was taking my dad's camcorder. You know what I mean? Just like for a long time, I've loved video, I've loved cameras, and I don't know, and I love tech, and I've always been surrounded by, okay, it might not always be flagship stuff, it might not always be the absolute most expensive products you can buy, but I've always been surrounded by some kind of tech, and I've always been interested in it. So, I don't know, after a few years of making videos, I thought it would just make sense to do something, start a channel, you know? And that's why I started. I love tech. I have a lot of fun editing videos, messing around with products. I love it when a company says, you know, I would love to send you this. And I think, yay, you know, I get to play with something new. So that's why. But I do enjoy the whole process. And it is really nice being part of a community. You know, when you've got others, you've got regular people that watch your stuff. They come back. You know what? They're not necessarily that interested in the product. Sometimes they're there just to support you because they like what you do. Which is nice, which is really nice. But anyway, that's why. Yeah, that's why I got into it.
Awesome. Yeah, it's very similar to. It's quite similar to like me as well, because I've always loved cameras. I've always loved video. I've always loved tech as well, and so kind of like putting all that together and creating. Yeah, definitely. Tech YouTube stuff. It's great.
That's kind of similar to me. Like when I was a kid, I was obsessed like with different kinds of home phones and cell phones and stuff, and especially when the flip phones started coming out, those things, like I remember like one of the first Motorola phones I saw was just like, wow, this is, you know, out of this world. And I was always into that kind of thing. And look at me now, like, you know, now I'm on YouTube. I started off by, you know, I got my first Apple Watch, and you know, I started watching videos about that, and then I just started watching people's videos, and eventually, you know, I'm subscribed to over 20 channels, and now I'm making my own stuff. So it's really awesome, you know, and you get to talk to, you know, a lot of different people and meet a lot of different people who like the same thing as you do, and it's a good way to make friends, you know. And I can safely say I made a lot of great friends doing this. So
yeah, that's very true. That's very true. There are a lot of I mean, obviously you can't be friends with everybody. You're not always going to get along perfectly well with everybody. There's always going to be, you know, but definitely it's nice to have others that like what you like, that are interested in what you do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's a lot better to talk to somebody that likes the same thing that you do versus somebody that doesn't and just was like, you know, why are you talking to me about this? You know, I don't like, you know what I mean? And I've had a lot of those in my life, so.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. And you cover, because I'm just trying to think now. I mean, obviously I know the type of stuff that Benji does, and I'm sure you do mobile stuff as like smartphone or mobile gaming stuff as well, don't you? You cover that.
Yeah, I do. I do a lot of Apple related content. Mostly Apple related content. I do, you know, venture out once in a while, but it's mostly Apple related stuff.
Apple. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. That's cool.
So we have another few questions for you. So what is your creative process like, and how do you go about, you know, getting ideas for videos and stuff?
Well, that does actually need a little bit of work, because I'd love to be able to. I do need to work on that, because I'd like to be able to tell a little bit more of a story. And I think at the moment, you know, the idea behind it is I like things that look nice visually. So I will always try with products to create some kind of some really nice fancy shots. of the products, because regardless of the product, whether it's a bad product or a good product, I still like everything to look as good as it can, or as nice as it can, nice and shiny,
Right.
you know. But no, I just feel like I want to tell people about whatever the product is that I'm dealing with. I want to tell people what I think about it, you know. And as far as I'm concerned, like, a lot of people say that I'm quite positive all the time about products that I look at, and I am normally very positive. There are obviously negatives, I do mention those, but I feel like if something is that bad, then I don't want to spend 3 or 4 days working on a video about it if it's that bad, you know. So
Right.
I tend to stick to stuff that I think is good, and I will then mention the negatives if there are any, which of course there normally are. You know, but no, I just take the product, I use it, and then I will definitely script. I script everything, because if I don't, and I sit in front of a camera without some kind of script, then I just talk rubbish. You know, I'm looking at the camera and I'm going, you know, and it's a real big mess. So I don't always,
especially with
read the
editing.
script. Yeah, with editing, it's just a disaster, because then you have to sit there and cut all of that stuff out, which just takes forever. So
True.
I'll tell you this: I did use before in the past. I used to use a teleprompter, so I would write some kind of script. I'd look, you know, the teleprompter was sat on front of the camera, on the front of the lens. But even then, I found that I didn't need that after a couple of years. So now what I actually do is I will write a very basic script. I'll have it on my phone, and what I'll do is I will memorize the parts where I know that my face will be shown, where I'm looking at the camera basically, and then the rest of it I can just hold my phone there and I can just read everything from the screen, and then, you know, quickly put the phone down and look at the camera again and read the next bit. So that works out quite well. That does work out quite nicely.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think MKBHD does the exact same.
Yeah, I think
way.
someone...
And even there's been a couple of people that I've spoken to that do the same thing. Like, I've been kind of trying to script my videos a little bit more, because I used to just like write a few bullet points and then just like go off and talk about things. But then there's a lot more editing I have to do. But like, if I script it, I normally go like almost 100% on script, but sometimes I say like a couple of things extra. I don't say certain things. But I've tried like the memorization thing as well. But whenever I do that, it doesn't come out sentence by sentence. And I've also tried a teleprompter, but then like setting up the teleprompter is just a nightmare. I don't know. It's just my setup. So I'm still kind of like
easy. It's
figuring that out.
Yeah,
No,
teleprompters are. Yeah, I mean, when I first started my channel, I there was no A-roll. That you never saw me. It was all voiceover.
Yeah.
You know, it was all
I think I remember
B-roll.
those days.
Yeah, you remember those good old days, Benji, you know? But I quickly realised that two things. One, people are never going to be able to connect with you unless they can see who you are. They need to be able to see you, and, you know. The second thing, I think, is it makes life a hell of a lot easier when you're producing a video. Because if you have no A-roll, that means you need double or triple the amount of B-roll.
Yeah.
So
it's a struggle.
You know, yeah. But I hope that I know that doesn't really answer that doesn't cover for me the whole creative process. I know that, but I hope that kind of, you know, answers the question. But is there anything like more specific you want to know about the?
I mean, kind of like you make a lot of different videos about a lot of different products, and I'm sure like you've got companies that reach out and send you stuff all the time. But like, you receive a product, let's say you receive a phone, what is like your process in like testing it out and then going and scripting and then recording and editing and things like that? Like, how, I hope that's like a little bit more specific.
Yeah, that makes sense. So the first thing is, I do get, you're completely right, obviously a lot of emails from a lot of different companies, and you know, once you've reviewed something or made a video on something like a projector, for example, it then seems that all of the companies that make projectors, they all send you an email. Hi Roger, we'd love for you to review our projector, blah blah blah. But I am quite I'm quite selective, I'm quite picky, because we all know that there are so many different brands for so many different types of product, and you just cannot. It's physically impossible to cover everything. So I'm a bit selective, and I'll look at what the products are, and I will try and cover products that I think are interesting or products that I think are going to be really good. I'll get the product, I'll use the product, and the next day, the day after I've received the parcel, that company will send me an email. Hi, is the video done yet? Is it online yet? Can we see the video yet? No, sorry.
It happens all the time.
So
funny.
How on earth? I haven't even had time to turn the bloody thing on, let alone record and publish a video. So, But the process is I'll get the product, I'll use it, and I'll use it the way that I would personally use it. If I bought that product, I will use it, however I would. And then once I've done that, that obviously then makes life a lot easier. I can write a script where I just talk about what you get, what's in the box, what it's like to use, what's not good, perhaps what is good, and so on. And then obviously I'll pop a link in the description so that if people do want to go and have a look, they can. And the filming, normally I film the A-roll first now because I just want to sit there and talk about the product. I'll do the A-roll, and once that's done, I can then think about the B-roll shots, what kind of shots will work over the top of the... honestly, the B-roll is the bit that takes the time. Sometimes I'll spend 3 days.
Right.
It's just
Yeah.
nice.
Wow.
It's the same with me as well. Like sometimes I try to shoot all the A-roll first as well, and then it'll take me a few days to get all the B-roll shots. Because also like I procrastinate quite a bit, which is not good.
I think we all do.
So sometimes
Yeah.
So sometimes I've got all the chopped up A-roll in Final Cut Pro, and then I've just got like I'm like, oh, I need to go record the B-roll for this video now, and then it just takes me a few days
It's
to
crazy.
finally do it. And then...
I think you saw it, Benji. I think you saw it, but the last video not the last one, the one before, a few videos ago, let's put it that way, I did a massive Amazon tech haul. You did see it, I'm sure you did. A tech haul, a tech unboxing. And
I don't think I've seen that one yet.
Okay, maybe you haven't. Okay,
I'm a little behind.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But that video, I have about 14 completely random different tech products from Amazon. They didn't actually, they did come from Amazon, but they were all the products that were sent to me by various companies. Because what I've started doing, I've started this new series where I'll do a massive tech haul or tech unboxing once a month. Behind me, in fact, you can probably see all them boxes behind me over there.
Yeah.
Well, that is everything that needs to be in the next video. But that last video that I did, there were 14 different products. And here's the problem with that. And that took me a week to make that video. The video is about 20 minutes long. And I unboxed all this stuff. But why on earth did it take me a week? Well, I shot the A-roll. I unboxed the stuff, which is nice. You've got an overhead camera. You've got a camera angle from the side. You've got the A-roll camera. But the problem is... I wanted to, not only I didn't just want to open the box and go, ta-da, look at this is amazing, right, next product. I wanted to show people what you can do with each product. And of course, so with smart cameras, I had to download the app, make an account, set up the camera, test it out, record it, shoot it, B-roll, get some shots of and I did this with every single product that I unboxed. So it did take a lot of time. And I think I went a bit over the top, but now I'm looking at that pile behind me. There's about 35 products behind me, and I'm thinking, how am I going to do that?
3 weeks later.
Yeah.
Damn.
One eternity later.
Yeah. It's like that meme.
I might actually split these products in half. I think one's going to have to be January's episode, and I can't do that lot in one video. That's a nightmare. It's going to have to be, it's crazy. But I was going to say, the nice thing about that type of video is there's so many different things. So there was like a Momax, a wireless charger for an iPhone, Apple Watch, AirPods, all in this little portable charger. That was one of the. Then the next product I looked at was a security camera or a smart camera. Then the next product I looked at was like a tech backpack. There's just a random loads of different types of, and I love that. I love the variety. I like all the different stuff, So it was good.
And also, I think it's a good idea to make a video to include all of them, so that you don't have to if you have 10 companies reach out to you, or you reach out to 10 companies, you don't have to make 10 separate videos. Just make one. Like, here you go.
Right. That's right, and that's what I say to them now, because every email I used to get from these companies, I used to say, no, sorry, that is not something that or sometimes I wouldn't even reply because I'd have so many emails. Now, I'm selective. So the products that I think I want to make a dedicated video on, that's fine, I'll do that. But all the other products that I haven't got time or I don't want to make a dedicated video on, I'll say to them, sorry, no. However, if you still want to send the product, I will include it in the next tech unboxing video, you know? And most of them are happy to still do that, which is cool.
Yeah, it's surprising as well. Like, I got an email the other day, and they're like, "Oh, we want to send you this product." And I was like, "Okay, so if you want me to do a dedicated video," usually when like a company reaches out to me, and they want a dedicated video, I would have them sponsor the video as well. Yeah. And these people, they're like, "Oh no, yeah, we don't want to sponsor it, but we can still send it to you." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, send it to me. They might make it in a video someday, but."
Yeah, that's true. But you still get those emails, don't you? You still get them where they say, so we sent you the product, you received it today, or you received it yesterday, where's the video? I don't know why they do that.
And sometimes it's really annoying. Like, there's this one company, now I think it's also kind of my fault, but they sent me some smart light bulbs a couple of months ago, and I still haven't gotten around to making the video yet because I've had other things to do and other products to review. And they, like, once a week, they keep emailing me. They're like, "Oh, do you have a deadline? No, do you have an estimated time of when the video is going to be up?" And I'm like, "What? I'll get to it when I get to it. You sent it to me for free." So it's so some people,
and that's not the only thing. Like, you know, we have lives, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Well, I don't.
When you're trying to,
I don't have that, really.
Yeah, when you have to like juggle so many different things, like my life has just gone crazy since I've returned from my mission. Like, I've got two jobs, and I've got a bunch of other, like, I've got my own business. I have YouTube as well, so I've just got like so many different things that I have to do.
There's a lot going on. Yeah.
So like sometimes creating a video about a certain product takes longer than it would if I didn't have all of these things on. But
right.
But yeah, I think I think that's kind of like, that answers the question that we asked about your creative process. But what have you seen? Like, you've been doing YouTube for a few years now, and you've tried many different things. What are some things that you've seen work with, like, getting views and things on YouTube?
Okay, that's an easy one to answer. That's an easy one. So the things that work on YouTube are all the things that I don't do. Let's put it that way. But there is a reason. There is a reason. The things that work on YouTube are things that will get some kind of reaction, you know? Mm-hmm. So lots of drama, lots of, "Oh my God, the new iPhone, this, that, the other." Right, which is fine. That does get reactions. That gets people talking in the comments. People are arguing. People are having fun. People are whatever. That's really cool. But that's not really the direction I wanted to go. So that does work, but that's not what I'm all about. I'm all about having fun with certain products. I like variety. I like trying to make crispy videos where I can. You know, that's where I'm at. That's the kind of stuff. So I'm not really in this for as many views as possible and as many subscribers as possible. Don't get me wrong. I love those subscribers. I like it when people come along and you see the count going up and the views are cool. But I'm not mentally, every time I make a video, my main goal is not how many subscribers can I get from this, how many views can I get from this. Maybe that's a mistake. Maybe that should be my goal, but at the moment it's not. So, but if I was making content that would get big reactions from people, of course, that I know would help you grow. But the other thing that I do different to everybody else, and the other thing that I've seen that works, is to really, really niche down. Not just niche down a little bit, but really niche down into something very, very particular. And a good example of that is Jeff, El Jefe Reviews. Mm-hmm. He does, obviously, earbuds. True wireless earbuds. He does earbuds, basically. And he covers every single possible kind of type of earbud you've ever seen or could imagine, or anything that comes out, anything that's been out for a while. He's done it. He's got it, and he's done it, and he covers it. Which is really cool, because if you want to know anything about wireless earbuds, he's your man. He's done it all, you know?
Yeah,
and
definitely.
And because he is so niche down into that, his channel's done extremely well, and people know he's the man to go to for that. At the moment, people that watch my stuff, sometimes they get a smartphone review, sometimes they get a projector, other days they'll get some accessories for a smartphone. They don't really know what to expect from me. They don't know what's the next video going to be. They don't know what's coming. you know. So
right.
that's my issue. But what I'm trying to do to combat that is this tech haul or tech unboxing series. Episode 1 was published I think it was the beginning of December. I'm trying to make that a monthly thing, and I'm hoping that in a year from now, people are going to say, oh, yeah, it's the last week of the month. That's when Roger does his tech unboxing. So I'm hoping it's going to become a regular thing, and people know to expect that video from me once a month, you know? But yeah, that's it. So niche down, really focus like a laser beam on a certain type of product, or make content that will get huge reactions from people. And both of those things I don't do. And again, it's deliberate because I like variety. I like having a bit more fun. So yeah, sadly, I'm not growing as quick. I reckon that if I'd done this a few years ago, maybe I'd be at 50 or 60 or 70 by now. Who knows? I don't know. But anyway, hopefully that answers that one.
Yeah, for sure. And I've seen it as well. Like when there are channels that really niche down, there's a lot. It's like I can't remember what the phrase is, but you basically have a better chance of reaching more people because the YouTube algorithm sees that, oh, there's like 100 people looking for this one specific thing, so these 100 people will watch this video.
You kind of become an authority, don't you, in that particular niche?
Exactly, because there's a lot of different tech YouTube channels that cover everything from like smartphones to computers to iPads to foldable things, and like there are some that do really well, but that's like NKBHD, but he's been doing it for a very long time, and he's got a lot of subscribers. He can create any content he wants at this point. But
I will also say, Benji, as well, because I had this discussion a lot with people, and I think that if all of us had started our channels 15 years ago, we would be in a very different position now. But I'll tell you why I think that. But I honestly believe the reason is 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 8 years ago even, there were far less tech channels. So therefore, the viewers had far less choice, you know. So they would subscribe because let's say there were 10 tech channels on YouTube. Of course, they would get all the subscribers because there wasn't anything else to watch. But now there's so much choice. It's very hard to give those people a reason to subscribe to you. Why should they subscribe to you over the other 7 million tech channels? You know, it's difficult now.
Right? Yeah,
it's very hard.
Exactly, it's a very saturated market, and there's a lot of food on the table, I guess.
Sounds good to me. But but yeah, you're right. You're definitely right.
No.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it is true. It is true.
I'm just going to say I'm gutted because I remember watching Justine when in her very early days, thinking I could make some content like that. Why didn't I do it then? You know, I'm gutted. I should have started all that time ago. But there you go. That's the way it goes. We can always look back and say, you know, woulda, coulda, shoulda, coulda, whatever the saying is. Not sure what it is, but you know what I mean.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on foldable phones and stuff?
That's an interesting one. I like them. I actually had the Samsung. What's their latest one? The Fold 3, I think. Fold 2 or the Fold 3? I can't remember.
Fold 3.
I think it's
Fold
the
3.
It's the 3.
Yeah.
I had it for.
I lost track on that one too. So
I know. I'm just trying to think of because there wasn't a huge amount that was different with the 3 over the 2. Yeah, it was the 3. So I had it for 1 day, maybe 2 days. Might be lying. And the problem for me actually was not the phone. The phone was lovely. The display on the inside was really cool. The display on the outside was a bit thin and a bit tall for my liking, but it worked. But the problem was I got scared after reading in Samsung forums about people that had got that phone at the same time as me, and they were saying in the forum like 3 days ago, as I've opened and closed the phone a couple of times, the display on the inside has split, or the plastic coating or the very thin glass coating has split. And Samsung said, sorry, we're not going to help you with that, even though you have extended free Samsung warranty and all of that, because they said it's what's the word? What's the word when you damage it yourself? User error, something like that. Yeah. And they had to pay £500 for a new display. And there wasn't just one person. There were lots and lots and lots. I thought, you know what? For that one reason, I'm out. So that was the end of that. So it went back. But apart from that, if I had a bit more faith in Samsung's customer care, then I probably would have kept it. But I love the idea of the foldable stuff. I think they look cool. I didn't like what Samsung did with the camera, that they tried to hide it under that crappy part of the display with like 4 pixels covering the camera. No, that looked horrible. But I do think that they're very exciting. So I don't know if I hadn't have read that the stuff I'd read in the forum, I would have kept it. It was very good. Yeah. So I mean, this is the thing. I do use iOS. I use iPad OS. I use Mac OS. I like all of that. I also use Windows. I also use Android stuff. As you know, I review Xiaomi and Poco smartphones and all of that, and it's all cool. I love it all. Right. So it's not. I'm not sort of saying, oh, sorry, it's not iOS, so I can't use it. It's fine. I'll use both. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with that. It's just that what I read worried me, and honestly, that's the only reason. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think foldables are going to be the future, or do you think it's going to be like AR or something?
Well, I don't know. I mean, my son for Christmas, we got him the Oculus Quest 2. And I put that on my head, and I was like, oh my God, this is the future. So that's the first experience I've had with VR, proper VR. And wow, that was very, very cool. And I'm not talking about, I wasn't playing Beat Saber. I wasn't doing all that stuff. I was just in a room. I don't know what it was, like some kind of lobby, floating around with some other people. But it was very cool. It was very, very cool. I can see, I mean, I don't know. A few more years are needed probably for that technology to evolve.
Yeah.
I think is where things are going to go. But as far as the foldable stuff is concerned, I don't think that's going anywhere. It's very cool. It's very practical. And I think as long as companies back up the tech, like as long as I don't keep reading in Samsung forums that Samsung are letting people down with stuff like that, then I think it will really succeed. I think it's very cool. Yeah. So definitely foldables are here to stay. Maybe rollables as well. Where the screen rolls out. That looks really cool. Maybe someone's going to do something with that. Who knows? It would be nice to see Apple do something foldable or rollable, or I don't know. That would be cool.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I mean, me personally, I'm not like the biggest fan of foldable phones, but I'm really excited to see the future with like VR and AR really being a huge part of like our lives and stuff. I don't know if in the 10 years we won't be walking around with phones anymore and we'll just all be wearing glasses, but definitely sometime in the future. I think definitely sometime in the future that's gonna happen.
Read, and this is the last thing because I won't go on too much, but I did read a few days ago, maybe yesterday, that Apple have just hired the lead guy from Facebook who was dealing with the Oculus Quest stuff. And they've hired him, and so obviously they're bringing him on board to work on AR or VR kind of stuff. So you never know. We could see something interesting there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Because I think Apple is planning on releasing some sort of VR AR headset at the end of this next year. So it's gonna be exciting to see how that's all gonna work and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, moving on to another question that I was thinking about. How are you like doing YouTube full time now, or is it still kind of a thing that of the future that you might do?
It's not properly full time. I do freelance, a lot of freelance work. So I do edit video for other people. I do some website work. I do some voiceover work. A little bit of everything, honestly. I'm trying to get YouTube to become more of a bigger part of what I do. So if I could, so it's not full time at the moment, but I'm hoping to go that way. Maybe next year it can become what I do full time. And I've always had this problem though, I'd need to make content faster and push it out faster if that's my full-time job, because you're not going to survive. You're not going to earn enough money if you just push out one video a week or a fortnight. You know, so I need to spend less time.
Right.
Yeah, I got to spend less time working on stuff. Maybe be a bit less fussy. But no, at the moment, to answer your question, no, I do some freelance stuff. I actually made Benji, I think you'll know the company DPD, the delivery company. I made an internal training video for their staff to show them how to, how to deliver a parcel from start to finish, basically. Which was cool. I went to North London. Yeah, I went to one of their depots. I filmed. There were a few guys that worked there. They were like shift managers and depot managers and things. And we just they already had a rough idea of what they wanted. So I went there, had a chat with them. We filmed a load of stuff that day. And then I spent a few days there. So I do stuff like that as well, you know.
That's cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, full time soon, hopefully.
Yeah, I guess that's a little bit similar to me because I've got my own video production like business company type thing, nice. And that's kind of what I'm trying to get into, like doing some videos for certain companies and things like that. So hopefully in the new year it's all gonna take off a little bit more and I can quit the other job I have.
Would be good. I hope it does.
Yeah, definitely.
Taylor, do you want to move on with the last question we have for Roger?
Sure. So where did you learn how to create like your super cool videos that you make?
Well, I mean that's very kind.
Honestly, man, I'm still trying to learn how to make stuff like that. So
I don't actually, because people say this to me, like, how do you get those shots and how do you? I don't know is the answer. I don't know. I just
great answer.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. See you next week. No, I don't know is the answer. I just look at. I set a shot up, you know, for B-roll, and I sometimes will connect it to a really big display, like a TV or something, and I am looking for. Yeah, I'm looking for the composition of the shot. I'm looking for the colors. What does it look like? How good does the product look? And sometimes it's ridiculous. Sometimes I will move lights up and down, left and right, forward and backwards until this one shot that's only going to be shown for about 5 seconds until it looks really good. And I'm like, okay, now this is looking good. And then but that's just 5 seconds of B-roll. What are you doing with your life, Roger? You know, that's the problem I have. So, yeah, it's very kind. People say to me, your content is really nice and this and that. And I appreciate that. Of course I do, because I do put a lot of time into it and all that. But I don't know.
Right.
I think it's just visually, I look at stuff and try to make it look as nice or as good as I can. But I just pick up stuff. Like, I've always watched Mr. Who's the Boss, Aaron. I've always watched his stuff for years. Yep. I watch all the big channels like iJustine, and people like Jonathan Morrison. I really like some of his stuff. I've realized that people like that, I can't make the same kind of stuff they do. I don't have robot arms like MKBHD. I don't have red cameras, you know what I mean, and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of stuff that I can't do. Yeah. And I'm also limited where I live because I'm in the forest, and
gotcha.
there's nothing here. There's trees and fields and cows and mud and rain. There's just nothing else here. So sometimes it's really hard, you know, when you're trying to create. I'd love to get out and make some shots by the beach or in a big city and stuff like that, but I literally have to
that's
drive.
Like me.
Yeah. Oh, you're the same kind of way. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I honestly feel, and maybe it's just us because that's where we live. We're so used to it, and it's just like I kind of feel like, you know, I'm not interested in where I live. Like, I wish I lived somewhere else and, you know, somewhere better. But it's like to another and I've learned this, like, you know, basically, like, and I actually read this morning. One man's trash is another man's treasure. And it's like, so you can think you live in a crappy place, but to somebody else, you could live in you know, a really nice place. That's so, true. You know,
there's always someone that's going to be worse off or have not have what you have. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yes.
You're absolutely right.
So that's why, you know, I would love to go out to, you know, film outside and get different shots instead of just being in one little room like I am now, doing my videos and my streams.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's one thing that I would really love to do, in this next year and years ahead. So hopefully I'll get to do that sometime.
That's really good. Yeah, no, and I do get it because, I mean, not everybody knows. Most people do by now, I think, that watch my stuff. But where I'm sat now, where I am, this studio, this whole place is dedicated to, yes, to where I film YouTube stuff, but also where I do my freelance work now. But this is in my back garden. This is a building made of wooden pallets. So I created all the walls. Yeah, with wooden pallets. Then I put insulation in them. Then I put plasterboard on the inside. Then I ran electricity to it. Then I've got a ceiling and walls and a floor, and it's carpeted and it's heated, and it's got, everything now is all set up in here to film and work and all of that. But I did do it on a budget. The whole thing, from start to finish, yeah, it cost about £800 or $800, something like that, to do the whole thing, and it took me months. I'm talking about like 4 months of solid every single day. Oh my God, it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life by far, because I used to film everything in my living room. I used to film everything inside, and it used to drive the kids and my wife. I used to say to them, right, everybody needs to leave the room for the next 6 hours. Please do not come in. Don't speak. Be quiet, And it was a disaster.
See,
they hated me.
Yeah. Yeah. I still live at home, and like, I try to do everything in the morning because that's when I have my quiet time. Because if I do something, like I usually do, I'm very flexible, So if I invite you to a stream and you can only do evening, I'll do it. I don't generally like to, because that's when my parents are home, and that's when, things are, generally noisy upstairs.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Like, I try to do everything in the morning, but, like, you can never win. There's always something.
Very true. Very true. It's very, very hard. No, it really is very hard.
Yeah.
And, sorry, my phone going off there. That's weird. Oh, I know why. See, I'm using, what do you call it now? Focus, what do they call it?
Focus mode.
And it's do not disturb, but that was a special message. That was from my wife, you see, so that one is allowed. that one can bypass do not disturb, so that's what that was. I was thinking, how have I got a note, how am I hearing this? It's in do not disturb, but anyway, there you go. But yeah, it's like it's absolutely crazy. And Benji, I don't know if you ever saw any of this. I have some photos of this studio that I built. I'll send them to you. I'll send them to both of you so you can have a little look. But this was pathetic. This was a ridiculous project. Everybody said, Roger, you are mental. Stop doing it. Don't do this. It's a waste of your life. And all of that. They said, you are no way you're going to build it's going to be a crappy little shed with cobwebs in the corner, and it's going to look awful. And I said, no, I got it up here. I said, it's all planned out in my brain. I know what I'm going to... And look, and here it is. And so I do... so everything is filmed in here. Oh, but that's what I was going to tell you. Yeah. So... That's what I was going to tell you. So what I tried to do in here, I have 3 separate areas. So where I'm sat at the moment, this is the gaming end. So it's a lot of RGB, and it's all set up to look like a proper gaming setup. But then over here, this is where I edit video, and I like this area because it's like a nice looking wooden desk and all of that kind of stuff. But then at the other end up there, I do kind of use that for storage, but I can also use that for product shots, top-down shots, and all that sort of stuff at the other end. So I tried to set up like 3 different sections that look slightly different. So when you do shoot B-roll and footage, you can just pick the product up, put it somewhere else, and it looks like you're in a complete... so that's one thing I tried to do to make life a bit easier.
Yeah.
Wow.
What cameras do you have, Roger?
I have one camera. I have one camera now. I put all my money, this was very silly, I put all of my money into one camera. I'll grab it, I'll show you here. Oh, blimey. Right, here we go. So this is the S5. Here we go. It's in a ridiculously big cage. You can't really see it that well.
Wow.
Wow,
yeah, that's awesome.
this is the Lumix S5, and the problem is I put all of my money that I could possibly scrape together into this camera, and it was just under £2,000 for that camera, and it's full frame.
Damn.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's full frame. It records in obviously 4K. I'm sure it does 60 FPS. Although I don't.
Yeah,
use
I think
that
it does.
very often. Yeah,
I think it does.
Lovely camera. It is absolutely packed. There's like 27 different types of autofocus. There's some just ridiculous stuff on that. It is ridiculous. I don't use half the features. Everything I use is normally manual. Manual focus But it's a nice camera. So when you the problem is people can see my face really close up and really sharp now. And I'm like, actually, I want to go back to 1080p. I don't want people to see me that clearly.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
But
I recently...
I was just going to tell you, Benji, for top-down shots and stuff like that, and from shots from the side and all that, I still use the iPhone. Shoots, as you know, you can get a nice 4K HDR video. It's good enough. It's good enough for stuff like top-down shots and all of that. It's definitely good enough for that. So, yeah, that's my second camera. Is the iPhone.
Cool. Yeah, I recently picked
awesome.
up a Panasonic G7.
Nice camera.
So yeah, actually I'm using it right now. It looks really good. And of course, and sometimes I use like my iPhone, or I've also got a Galaxy S10 Plus that I use as a secondary camera if I need one.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's always good to have. That's the thing, isn't it? There's no way, like 5-6 years
Yeah.
ago, there's no way you could have used a phone as even as your main camera or secondary camera. But as time has gone on, they're good enough you can use your phone as your main camera now. You don't have to have, a DSLR. You don't have to have a separate camera. So, there's obviously things you can do, like you use a tripod or use a gimbal or something to help you get better shots. But a phone is good enough now,
Yeah.
Which doesn't answer your
definitely.
question, really. It doesn't make any sense. Why did I go and get this S5? I should have got like a G8, something like what you've got. What do you have, a G7, did you say?
G7, yeah. I think you used to have G7, right?
I did, and I was quite happy with it. Why did I...
Yeah.
I don't know. The problem is you go through this, like you keep seeing what other tech YouTubers are using, all this amazing fancy equipment, and it makes you think, I need that. I should have one of them. I'm going to get... No, I don't think you do need all of that stuff. No. I made a mistake buying that. It's a lovely camera, and I love it to bits, and it's flipping awesome. But I feel like now, maybe I'll sell that, and I could buy like 5 cameras with the money from that.
Yeah. You could buy like five G7s, and then you've got all sorts of angles of your face in 4K.
I might... Oh, bloody hell. Right, forget that. No, but I might do, I might do something like that. I don't know. I may sell it, and I may be a bit more sensible and get 2 or 3 cameras, because it's handy to have a spare camera. At the moment, if something goes wrong with that camera, I'm stuffed. So,
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it's a cool
not be
camera.
good.
It's a cool camera.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
So we've reached about an hour on our recording time. So we just wanted to, assuming as it's the end of the year, we're coming up to a new year, and it's going to be a year of new goals, new initiatives, I guess. What is one goal? This is like a question for all of us, where we can each answer it. What is one goal that we have for 2022? Maybe it could be YouTube related or anything else. But yeah, Roger, you can start off.
My one goal for 2022 is to make more content. I don't make enough content. That's my goal. To make more videos than I did in 2021. That's my goal.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great goal, and that's part of mine as well. Like I really want to also like streamline and niche down a little bit more, and also be more consistent with my content, because as of right now, there's like sometimes I'm posting 3 videos in a week, and then there's nothing from me for like 2 or 3 weeks. But I think really like niching down and streamlining and simplifying the process as well, because I think sometimes I overcomplicate stuff with like the edit and things like that, and then
Easily
the videos
done.
just don't perform well. They just do 10 out of 10 instead of 1 out of 10 or
And after
whatever.
it's disheartening when you put a lot of time and effort into it as well.
Oh yeah, exactly. And sometimes the funny thing is, like, the videos that you spend the least time on perform the best,
I know.
and the
You're
ones
right.
you spend the most time on perform the least. And it's like, YouTube, that's not what you're supposed to do. But it is what it is. Taylor, what about you? What's a goal you have?
Man, I think just trying to make my content better than the last. You know what I mean? Like, I've always heard you got to try to make each one of your videos better than the last video you made, and I think that's what I'm going to try to work on. Try to.
And I'm not trying to jump in, but I do think you're right. But I did put myself under a lot of pressure with that, and I was thinking, like, every time I was making a video, I was thinking, like, this is not majorly better than the last one that I made. I'm not happy.
Right.
But the thing is, as long as you've got it in the back of your mind that you're going to try and improve something just slightly, even if it's just slightly, that's good enough,
Yeah.
But you are right.
Exactly.
You are right.
I think there's a story about, like, I think it's the British cycling team that went to the Olympics, and they did absolutely rubbish up until recently, and that's because they started improving, but instead of improving like majorly every time, like instead of making in relation to YouTube, instead of making one video and then making the next video that's 2 times better or 3 times better, it's just like by improving 1% every time. So like when you're creating a video, say, how can I make this 1% better than the last video? Because then as you go on, you've got 100 videos down the line, you've improved 100% instead of maybe like 50 after like 5 videos, like after like 3 videos or something like that. So it's important to improve, but sometimes improving too quickly is too much. So like improving slightly by 1% is always good.
Yeah, I think as long as you've set your goals, you know that you want to improve and you're trying to improve, that's good enough. And I did that wrong for the first couple of years. I was putting myself under a huge amount of pressure to, try and double the quality of the video or every time. And it's impossible to do that. You're limited by what you have and the equipment you have and your knowledge and everything else. So, but yeah. Improve by 1% if you can each time. Just that's what you should do. That's right, Benji. That's good.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah,
well, Roger, is there anything you would like to tell the audience? Anything you would like to add before we wrap up?
I don't think so. I'll just say a big thank you for your time. It's been nice to come and talk to you both. And and that's pretty much it. There's not much else for me to add, but it's nice I haven't done a podcast with anyone for a while, so I just sit in here on my own, looking at products, don't talk to anyone much, so it's quite nice to talk to somebody real.
Yeah,
definitely.
Even though it's through a screen, but
true. Are you two actually real, or is this some kind of?
No, yeah, we're just NPCs, NCPs, whatever.
Oh, fair
characters.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Taylor, do you have anything else you need to add before we wrap up for the year, I guess?
No, man. I just want to again, say thank you for creating this awesome podcast, and I can't wait to see what the future holds. Not only for the podcast, but for all our channels. And much success to you and to you, Roger. And hope to have you back next year.
Same to you. Yeah, I'll come back. I'll enjoy that. If you, anytime you want me back, I'll be there. So that's cool.
Sounds awesome.
Awesome, man.
And for all those listening or watching, thank you so much for supporting us up until this point. 2022 is going to be a big year. We're going to have some pretty awesome guests on if things go well. And also make sure to subscribe to all of our channels and everything. We're going to be improving a lot. All the links will be in the description or the show notes. You guys can go check it out. Hope you all had a wonderful Christmas so that you have a wonderful new year. And remember to set goals as well, because it's always good to improve and to make, seeming as we're coming up to a new year, it's great to have that fresh start. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching or listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Tech Unlocked podcast. And we'll catch you guys next week.